Hello there. Is that Angela Johnson?
Yes, I'm speaking.
Hi, Angela. It's DJ Gloss here from Sound Fusion Radio in London. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well. Have I caught you at a good time?
Oh, I've been waiting for you.
Well, thank you very much. That's lovely. That's good. Do you mind if I start asking you a few questions then, Angela? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Wonderful. That's great. Well, first of all, I was going to ask you about how you and music came together, really, and sort of going right the way back to your childhood. I have read some things, but I thought I'd ask you about it.
Yes, I mean, wow, that's very, 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 very long ago. I mean, I really knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be in music, a part of music in some way or some fashion. At the very tender age of 4 years old,
Wow.
I started playing piano and writing songs at the age of 4. I mean, I didn't know what I was saying or writing about, but I knew back then, early on, that I wanted to become a musician and a singer, and I wanted to write songs and perform for everybody. So early on, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, but I really didn't start to grasp the idea of becoming a singer, songwriter, until, I guess, in my teens. I mean, I fooled around with it as a kid, but in my teens, I knew this is pretty much the direction I was going to take.
Yeah.
I did take some time to learn classical music. I studied violin for quite some time, as well as piano, classical piano. But in college, when I first got to college, I knew that I probably wasn't going towards the classical direction. I did start off studying violin for the first 2 years of college. But instead of practicing on the violin, I was more so writing songs and playing on the piano, and that probably didn't benefit me as a violin major. So I moved on to studio composition in my last 2 years of school, and from there I just took it on and went forth and became this person that I am today, this individual, this artist, that I'm very happy to say that I'm happy to be here today to do this.
Well, we're very happy that you are there to do it as well. How wonderful. That's great. And thank you very much for sharing that story with us. That's good. So who were your musical influences? Who were your idols and who were you playing? Who were the favourites back in the day?
There are quite a few because I lived in upstate New York, which is central New York State, and I was exposed to quite a few genres of music. You know, in the household, my mother always played gospel and some R&B, but my father played a lot more funk and reggae.
Yeah.
And then I had a slew of aunts and uncles that had other music, music that I would hear on the radio, the top 40s, top 10s. And then I, of course, had my classical upbringing in the school system. But yeah, I have to say, out of all of the music, what became so a part of my influences and my taste in music, I would say a lot of Motown music, and then, of course, James Brown, Aretha Franklin, Al Green, Chaka Khan. Wow. Those are the artists that I tend to listen to over and over again, even Bob Marley. I mean, I was just engulfed in that particular music. And then, I had, from Al Green and Aretha Franklin, I had both the secular music as well as the sacred or gospel music. So I had both sides coming from them, which was so delicious and so wonderful for me as an artist that I was able to listen. And it's not too different. It's just changing the lyrics here and there, but melodically and musically, it was pretty much the same. But all of it was so heartfelt, and I listened to nothing but music that was played live. And just, it was just wonderful for me to grow up in that kind of environment.
Wow, that's and so many different sort of genres and artists and time scales as well. Sort of with Al Green on the one hand, Chaka Khan on the other. I mean, that's just fabulous, and must have been a great influence on.
Thank you,
your
and
music.
Yes, thank you. And I do have to add to that, which was a major influence, Michael Jackson or the Jackson 5. So those, that was more pop edge than I definitely you can hear in some of my music. Than I do want to sound. I want to blend some commercialness into the music, but also just to make it very sing-songy, people can, sing along with and memorize the lyrics, or even just hear the lyrics for the first time and remember the hook. So these are things that I've gotten from, listening to a lot of pop music as well as the soulful music.
Wow, well, that certainly works very well, and that's great, because you had quite an influence in gospel when you were younger, didn't you? I mean, was it you were church organist and several other things? Was that correct?
That's correct. I was, I guess I started playing piano for one of the choirs as early as 9, 10 years old.
Really?
So
wow.
I had to, for the children's choir, I was singing and playing with the children's choir of St. Paul's Baptist Church in Utica, New York. And yes, then they wanted to move me up to the organ, and it wasn't necessarily a Hammond B3, but it was a pipe organ. I was playing it like it was a Hammond B3. And so, yes, I was introduced to the pipe organ around the age 15 and 16. And I started to play for the entire church, for the congregational hymns and things like that. And I was still studying some classical, so it kind of worked because a lot of the hymns were classically influenced. And so we blend that with the gospel, the Southern Baptist gospel, and the classical influence. It kind of was a wonderful mesh for me that I was exposed to both genres and able to incorporate into my music. But it was really a great education for me to be able to, play and hone my skills within the church.
Wow, that's absolutely lovely. I wonder if they had any inclination at that time that Angela Johnson playing the organ was going to be a multi-album artist. I wonder.
Thank you. You know what? I think a lot of them believed that I was going to go somewhere because I couldn't sit still and I couldn't stay in that particular area where I was living at the time because I saw bigger things for me. And my mother and my father knew it, and they just knew that when I left, I wasn't going to come back. I knew that I had to go down southern New York, which would be New York City. I needed to be close to Broadway. I needed to see the stars, and I needed to be in the midst of all of that action and music. So that was a great move for me.
Yeah, so it was an intentional move to be alongside the music scene. Is that what you did?
Oh, absolutely. I
yeah.
knew that I wasn't going to be able to do it anywhere else, so this was perfect for me.
Fabulous. Well, I mean, so many wonderful albums on your discography. They Don't Know, and Got to Let It Go, and A Woman's Touch, and It's Personal. And then now you're on the 6th one, Naturally Me. Can you tell us a little bit about that album and what that one means to you? Because I know it has a very special meaning to you.
Oh, yes. I think Naturally Me was the album that I really needed to release. I know many people have been asking, when's the next A Woman's Touch coming out? Where's Volume 2? But I had a few more things to say before I stepped into that because I had to be in a totally different head. But with Naturally Me, I felt that I had yet to make the kind of album that I envisioned, even since the Cooley's Hotbox days, where I wanted to make a more live-oriented album, I wanted to use more live instrumentation. I wanted to be even more, I guess, I don't want to say political, but I just wanted I wanted people to know that I do have a position that I stand on
yes.
certain points, and I do have opinions. And Naturally Me, the title, really came from me, being pretty much comfortable in the status that I'm in as a musician and as an individual in the community that I live in. I have opinions and I have thoughts and I have feelings. And for me to share this with everyone else was a little bit scary for me. I felt that maybe people wouldn't like what I have to say, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I'm grown and I can say these things, and maybe there's some people that agree with me, but I can use this soapbox that I'm supposedly standing on and voice my opinions, not necessarily preaching, but just maybe opening up some conversation or stimulating more conversation about these things that are maybe not so positively affecting our community. There are some negative things that we need to talk about, and so really I just wanted to start a conversation. But also this album was for me to be able to work the hardest on. I think that this album was the most challenging for me because I had to wear so many hats again, and it was more so than before. I mean, I was literally in the studio producing other musicians to play my music the way that I heard it in my head. And then, of course, I had to do my own production. I had to produce myself, yes. And that's a lot of work. So a lot of blood, sweat, and tears have went into this album. I can say that, if I were, I've been saying this repeatedly, that if I were to die the next morning, I would have said that this is the masterpiece that I needed to make or that I had made. And I'm very proud of this product that I released. This is such a rewarding feeling for me to be able to produce an album such as Naturally Me.
Wow, that's really lovely to hear it coming from you and said in such a lovely way. And all but one was written and arranged and produced by you. Every single track on the album but one, isn't it?
That's correct. And the one that wasn't was a Tina Marie cover, Deja Vu, I've Been Here Before, which I was so honored to be able to do this and maybe arrange it in a different way than the original. And I was afraid of that because I usually don't want to touch original pieces because they're so perfect in the way that they've been made and created. But I thought that I would pay homage to Tina and, of course, Rick James, who actually written this song. And it was another favorite of mine, that this beautiful song, it just came so wonderfully together, and for me to be able to use a string section rather than just two strings like I normally do and layer it, I used the string section to be able to produce a beautiful piece. But yes, I've arranged, produced, written everything on the album, and I'm very proud of it, and I've worked so hard on it.
Wonderful, and so you should be too. I mean, covering Tina Marie, a Lady T track in such a wonderful way, it is a great thing to do. And like you say, I can understand some apprehension, but great job. And
thank you. And I must add that Najee Ellen Combs is on the piano. I actually let myself relax on the keys and brought in Najee, who's just a master at what he does, and wonderful arranger and keyboardist, and I was honored to have him on my album on this particular song as well.
Well, that's absolutely lovely. You're described as an artist at the very top of your game, and that is a very nice thing to say. And they're talking here about you describing your masterpiece as you just did just now, which is absolutely lovely. And to hear you say that in such a nicer way than it's written, it's lovely. That's fantastic. So
thank you so much.
Naturally, Me, the tune there, I Promise Money, was the first sort of release that we had here in the UK. That's the one that sort of came out as a teaser. Can you tell us sort of a little bit more about that particular tune?
Yes. Well, lyrically, I was stumped at one point during my writing process, thinking about some things that I could talk about that aren't necessarily heard in songs, and you hear it in conversation about money. I mean, my goodness, everybody's worried about it, where it's coming from, how it's coming, when is it coming, and it happens right here at home. It's just something that sometimes can be unavoidable. But I thought that would be an amazing way to just kind of flip a love song and turn it into a song about money. So you want to talk about your relationship with money rather than hating it. Maybe try to embrace it and, apologize to it and ask for it to come back. So I wanted to be kind of cynical and comical and all of these things in this one particular song. And I thought that this would be a pretty humorous song to have on the album. But what made it really exceptional was to have, and I'm so honored, Raul Midon, who's such an exceptional singer and guitarist and vocal trumpet player. He's so amazing. Have you ever seen him in person? Oh my gosh, he's just just terribly talented. I mean, it's just, he's amazing, and I was so honored to have him on my record. And we have been, after each other, trying to figure out how we could work together. And finally, I found a song that I had already written before he came into the picture, and I thought that he would fit right in. So I was just pleased that he was able to make some time to appear on the album as my duet.
It's very, very good, and your two voices do gel very beautifully around that track.
Thank you.
I must say I very much enjoyed listening to the track, and actually my next question was to ask you about Rule anyway, and how that came about. So you've kind of answered that, so that's fabulous. Thank you.
Well, I can go a little bit deeper. I mean,
please do.
During I guess it was he actually heard a record of mine, They Don't Know, quite some time ago. So this is quite a few years ago that we knew about each other and we had talked. And I also seen him in concert, actually at a winter music conference in Miami some time ago, where he was performing with MAW. And I was just blown away just listening to him sing and then watching him play his guitar. And sometime after that, I don't know how we came into contact with each other, but he had heard my They Don't Know record, and he reached out to me and just wanted to tell me how awesome of a singer and songwriter, and I'm just blown away because I can't believe that he's talking to me on the phone. But we, since then, have been trying to figure out a way to work together, but it finally came together, and I'm just so happy that we were able to make time to work this out. And we didn't necessarily do it in the same studio. A lot of times folks have to, send songs over to the other singer, songwriter, and have them recorded in their studio because of scheduling. Yes. But we were able to make it work, and people can really hear that that we blend well, and we worked hard to make that work and make it seem that if we were in the same studio and recording this record together. But yes, it came together, and I'm very pleased with it.
That's wonderful. That's one place where modern technology helps singers and performers rather than hinders them, because there are many ways it does hinder them, unfortunately, but we won't go into that right now. But, it's lovely that technology can help you in some ways, isn't it? That's great.
Right.
I have a burning question to ask you, Angela, and it's, do you have any plans to come and see us here in the UK at all?
Are you kidding me? I'm probably more anticipated of that than you are. I've been waiting because it's been a while, and we are working on some things. I believe that it will start off with a promotional purpose. I'll make a trip just to do some more interviews in person, and maybe doing a listening party. I don't know, something like that. But I do anticipate to be doing quite a few shows in the UK. I'm going to be touring a lot more than I had in the past. And I'm looking forward to it because, like I said, I'm so excited about this album. I've been ready. I've been waiting, and I have a terrific band here, and I've used terrific musicians over in the UK as well. So whichever way it's going to happen, it's definitely going to happen. And I'm hoping before the end of this year, but I cannot give you an exact date. Sorry.
Well, I was kind of hoping you might give us an exact date, but I mean, obviously, just the thought that you're coming is fantastic. And as I often say to artists, the nice thing about the UK is it's not that big, so wherever you go, we can get to see you. It's not that big a country that you can't travel. So that's always a big advantage. We can come and find you anywhere. But, if you're in London, then, most of the London venues we get to anyway. So we'll really, really be looking forward to you coming over. That'd be fantastic.
Thank you. I as well. Thank you.
That's lovely. I wanted to get talking to you about the latest album first, because I didn't know quite how we would be time wise, and I didn't want to take up more than our allotted 30 minutes. And so I was going to ask you a little bit more about Cooley's Hotbox and a little bit more about the work you did with them.
Yes, Cooley's. Well, we are not exactly living in the same side of the United States. Christian lives on the West Coast, and I live on the East Coast. So that would be one issue that we would have to deal with. But, of course, technology would allow us to, work in a way where we can get some work together. But he's been on a path. The Tortured Soul movement, if I can call it that, has been on and popping and very strong.
Yes.
And of course, I, as an individual artist, has been just as strong. And now I'm just entering into something else that is going to take my career, I believe, to the next level. But Christian and I do talk to each other every time, every now and then. And when at the end of the conversation, like, oh, well, maybe we'll do a song or, put out a single or something. But, life just gets in the way. I have a daughter, and he just became a father not too long ago. And so it's been, just scheduling that has kept us from being able to pursue another record. But it's definitely not a closed issue. It's something that we talk about from time to time. And I do believe we will eventually get together and do something. If it's not a full album, maybe an EP or a single or something. But, Christian and I are very good friends, and we will remain that. We performed, as cool, a little bit of, we gave it a little Cooley's Hotbox review in Japan, and that was just so awesome. We stepped on stage like we never left, and
wow.
It was just a great feeling to work with him and to play with him. That energy is something that I don't think I can get with anybody else. So that's the kind of connection that Christian and I have. But no, we're not ruling out, an album that will be in the works. But we hope to be able to come to that conclusion of thinking about it and just enter into let's do it and be about it. So yes, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
That's absolutely great. I mean, Cooley's Hotbox. I mean, I just love the tunes. In fact, I even played one this morning on my breakfast show. So, it's a bit of an institution, Cooley's Hotbox, and I'm so glad that there are thoughts for more to come. So that's just brilliant. And like you say, it's a gel. It just works so well. It's great.
Thank you.
No problem.
Well, you know what? You need to do an interview with him and let him know too. We need the people to tell us, and maybe we'll get cracking on it a little faster. But no, like I said, Christian and I still remain really good friends, and we just, life gets in the way, and scheduling can be somewhat of a hassle. But,
yes.
We'll make it work. We really will.
Well, I would love to interview Christian, so if that comes off, I will be a very happy DJ. So that's great.
Awesome.
Fabulous.
I'm sure.
And then I mean you've worked with real people and Mickey Moore and produced some wonderful sort of soulful house type tunes. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, very versatile. It's I just looking at your discography. I mean, you've been involved in so many things. It's unbelievable.
I'm probably one of the hardest working girls out there now. Producer, singer, songwriter. I enjoy what I do, and that's what really keeps me going. That's my drive, because I just love music, period. And it can be house music, it can be dance music, it can be gospel, it could be R&B and soul. Oh my gosh, it's just what I am. And when I wrote the title or came up with the title Naturally Me for the album, it really just is me displaying that I'm not really taking the funk, if I could say that. This is what I've been like for as long as I can remember, just being engulfed in music and just always wanting to showcase my love for music in any way or other, and people are also wondering, why I jump back and forth from one genre to another. It's because I have a strong feeling for an affection for especially these two styles of music, and I feel that it's very related. It's all soulful. I love to dance. I love to make dance music, and I love to produce it as well. And then, of course, I have my side, the soulful side, where I'm kind of digging in a little bit more with the live instrumentation and the more thoughtful lyrics, and I'm just really encompassing something that is beyond me. I feel like I'm a vessel, and God is just speaking through me. And whatever He says, I'm just going to do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And really, it's just so beautiful when I'm feeling so right about something, and I just go for it. And I hope that people can get this from this album, or any piece of work that I have done in the past, and what is to be put out now into the world. I just hope that people can feel the realness within me, and that they can understand where I'm coming from when it comes to music, because this is something that is just nothing but music within me. I'm sorry, I'm babbling, but I'm so passionate about it, and I wish I could speak without I'm thinking. But this is a passion. This is the passion that speaks through me, and I'm just happy to be here to be able to do it.
Oh, Angela, that was really lovely, and you're not babbling at all. I love to hear what you have to say. That's the whole point, and it's great to be able to express yourself and say those things. So thank you very much for that. If you want to point our listeners at your website and social media, please feel free to do so.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, I have a Facebook page, of course, my fan page, which is facebook.com. Angela Johnson Sings. Very simple. I have a Twitter account at Angela Johnson _1. And then I have Instagram, which is also the same name, Angela Johnson _1. That's
fantastic. Angela, thank you very much for your time. I very much appreciate
thank you.
All of it.
And I really do appreciate you guys, playing my music over and over again. I see you there, and I want to keep shouting every time it comes on, but people probably think it's annoying for me. But I do appreciate the support, and I can't thank you enough. And I hope to see you guys really soon, okay?
We look forward to seeing you, and thank you very much indeed. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
You take care. Thank you, Angela. Thank you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
No problem. Bye-bye.
Bye.